Hello again, my name is Ernest. Let's settle for the details now. And we begin from the Savannah region because the Inspector General of Police, James Opombuene, is expected to be there, which has been in the news over the past few weeks with the security concerns. Now, it all started with the ongoing registration exercise where supporters of both NPP and NDC have perpetrated violence on one another following alleged busing of people from other regions to registration centers. Damongo and Daboya towns dominated in some of these attacks. Now, the lynching of to death of the 90-year-old woman Ekuadente in Kafaba in the East Gonja district has also added to the myriad of security issues being dealt with in that region. Joining us via Zoom is the Savannah region correspondent Isaac Nonya for some more details on this. Isaac, thank you very much for joining us here on News Desk. The IGP is expected to be there. What are the details of his visit? When is he expected to touch down? Hello, Isaac. Well, we seem not to have Isaac on the line. Isaac, if you can just unmute your sound for us, then we can hear you. Hello,
yes,
Isaac.
Roland.
Yes, I can hear you now, Ernest here. So the IGP is expected in your region. Bring us some more detail on his visit.
Yes, his visit likely has to do with what police sources are telling us. They said the IGP is here to meet with RESEC, also meet with the King of Gonjaland, and then some stoneholders who have helped in the area of peace, control of peace direction in the region. He will also visit people like the Kafaba, Daboya, and that of Damago to see how he could help together with the people to address the security challenges that have just come up in the wake of the voter registration and that of the Kafaba murder.
We know about the Kafaba murder and the fact that he deployed a team of homicide officers from Accra to help in the investigation which is ongoing. We know that some people have been arrested and will soon be arraigned, others charged. But about electoral violence, bring us up to speed on what the situation has been in the region.
It mostly has to do with both NPP and NDC. The area of Kojokura, where some individuals were spotted holding some weapons and dragged to the police station, is an issue that's at hand. That of Daboya, there was another confrontation between NPP and NDC, leading to the injury of some people. The police still holding that issue. Then, largely, the busing of people from other regions.
Well, we seem to have lost Isaac Nunya there on Zoom due to the connection issue. We'll rectify that so we can have him bring us up to speed on the situation in the region and also tell us more about the visit of the IGP to the Savannah region today. We know that he deployed some men from the homicide unit to help in the investigation of the lynching of the 90-year-old woman in that region, Ekuadente. But also, we understand that there have been pockets of violence in some parts of the region, and he's going to abreast himself with the situation there. Isaac joins us again. Isaac, you are giving us some more detail on the electoral violence in the region. Hello, Isaac, can you hear us? Hello, Isaac?
Yes, I'm with you, Menu.
Yes, so you are giving us some more detail on the pockets of violence recorded in the region as far as the voter registration exercise is concerned.
Exactly. If you consider what happened at Kojokura, Kurabaso, Daboya, and that of Damago, these areas, you realize that both NPP and NDC supporters were attacked and injured, and the police were able to arrest some individuals who are currently undergoing trial at the Bola Magistrate Court. It's an issue that even the stakeholder RESEC are still managing to see how they can control based on the number of days that are left for the exercise to finish. But largely, I think the IGP visit here will be able to address some of the issues. One, we are told that apart from meeting with RESEC and the overlord of Gonjaland, he equally be meeting with political parties who are here in the region to see how they can come together with the security to address some of the challenges in the region.
And we know that this is his first visit to that region since the command there was created because of the creation of that region. I'm sure there are issues of administration that he would also be looking at, and in terms of the structures for the regional command as well.
That is true. Let me quickly touch on what is happening at Kafaba. Kafaba is a distance from that of the Salaga town. And one thing that we'll be looking at is for the IGP to talk about the post, citing a police post at Kafaba. Here where the structure the regional command is managing was what was meant for the district command. At the moment, many officers have come, and the RCC have located a site for that project. I think the IGP visit here will be able to talk about how they are going to expand the place or put a permanent structure to address the accommodation challenges for the officers here.
Isaac, thank you very much for bringing us up to speed on the visit of the IGP to the Savannah region. I know you'll be following up closely to update our viewers on whatever happens there during his visit. That's our correspondent for Savannah region, Isaac Nonya there. Let's explore this further. Let's have a conversation on this. Peter Antizi, Executive Director of the Institute for Education Africa, and Dr. Mike Boachi-Yadom, a fellow with the Institute for Educational Planning and Administration. And I want to start with you, Mr. Anti. You know the education system quite well. You follow what happens. This is the first time probably that we're having the Ghana Education Service approve a booklet for past questions. Would you say that is the source of the problem we are seeing today with all the protests in the schools?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers. Yes, I have to indicate that that is one of the main reasons why we are having this particular challenge. We have to trace the attitude of the students to the the exams, I mean, before they started writing the exams, and you would realize that there have been a lot of conversations about how we'll be able to know whether the policy have achieved its intended outcome. The three themes that were launched when the policy was implemented. The first one was equity, we have equality, and then we have access. So the time for anybody who is in the education space to assess the program completely is now, especially when you are looking at the quality variable and your focus is on the output variable, which now becomes the quality. Then the policymakers would now look at ways and means by which they will be able to score high marks with this particular variable. And that is why we saw some of the activities that were carried out before the exams was written. One of them was, you remember, core teachers were asked to go to certain centers for them to be taken through a series of training on how to go about certain questions and other things. Then the textbook, past question textbook issue also came about. During that discussion, some of us came out and said that although the initiative was good, I think the signal that particular policy or that particular initiative was sent to the students will not be positive, and we have seen the outcome, because what the students were expecting, which we are in no means saying that justifying the attitude of the students, no, but then we should be able to also indicate that the actions of the authorities have led to what we are experiencing today.
But to be fair, I think that when the issue of the past questions came up, the major issue, and I remember the opposition raised that issue, especially in Parliament, the former education minister, was about the cost. I think that was the major issue. But right now, we are seeing a certain turn of event. You know the system quite well. Do you know of any promise made to the student? Because there's a certain sense of entitlement or expectation on their part, which is playing out in what we are seeing. Do you know of any expectation? Were they communicated to in a certain manner? Were certain promises made to them as far as this exam is concerned?
I cannot say any promise was made to the students explicitly, but actions of authorities can convey an implicit promise to the student. And when I said that we raise issues, I'm talking about our institute. We raise issues about the manner in which that particular initiative was carried out. We were thinking that the ministry and the Ghana Education Service spearheading this particular initiative was faulty, because at the end of the day, the backlash was what we were expecting. Now, there have not been any explicit promise made to the students. I don't think anybody has said that. But as I said, if you have implemented a policy and the policy has run its full course, in this case 3 years, and you have 3 objectives, you have access. Access, recently we had a discussion about access, and then we were talking about the numbers. People were saying that, oh, you have not increased the numbers. You have equity. Equity, you have achieved it, because now in case of a gender parity ratio, you are having 1:1, sometimes even 1:2. So you are achieving equity in terms of finances. Everybody is getting going to school. So equity, you are getting that. Then quality, when you look at quality, which is a very comprehensive variable in our system, we all talk about quality, looking at how students are able to pass the exams. So the aspect of quality in the minds of the students will be our ability to pass the exam, so that we will be the policymakers would note or will agree that, oh, we have been able to gone through these 3 things that we put out. And that is the reason why I'm saying that our activities, our actions prior to the examination have sent a certain signal to the students that this and this and this is what is likely to happen. Remember, we kept saying that this is the first batch of the free SHS students. This is the first batch of the free SHS students. We gave them certain kind of names and other things. And those things might have had a psychological impact on the students, and that is what we are experiencing now. We have to look at their behavior in totality, but we have to also appreciate the events that have led to what we are experiencing now.
Let me find out from Dr. Boakye Adam if he agrees with you. Doc, and if before this, last year the president taught some regions, and I remember in the Ashanti region, he told the students, I want you to pass so we can shame the naysayers, the people who said free SHS was not possible. When you hear that and you see what is happening, would you agree with those who say government has caused this and put the blame at the doorstep of government?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your cherished viewers. In the first place, I want us to have this discussion in the context of the schools where these things are happening. We are seeing this at the Chunugwa Senior High School and some other senior high schools. Yeah. I think we are overgeneralizing the issue.
Okay.
How many schools have recorded these negative incidents? How many students are involved? It happened in Chunugwa, it happened in some other institutions. I would want to have the discussion in that context. So what is happening at Chunugwa Senior High School? I am interested in the leadership of the school. I am interested in issues of discipline or indiscipline in that particular school. I am interested in how the school responds to crisis and manage crisis. And this is Chunugwa Senior High School. I have seen videos of some students in some other senior high schools who were jubilating that the exam was good, they prepared well, and they were able to write.
Indeed, I saw that of Prempe, I think, where the students were jubilating. But even that, we'll come to the details of that shortly.
Right. And then the statement from the president that you referred to, he's a politician and he was speaking as a politician. But I think that students, for a very long time, when students complete examination, these reports come out. Students will be talking about, we did well, our poll didn't drop and all that. Now, because of social media, we are seeing the videos and we are hearing many of these things. I think it is not surprising that these issues are coming up from these specific schools, but I will want to find out how the quality of the school leadership and then how those schools manage crisis. I think we don't need to draw conclusions that may not be based on data. The district chief executive of that particular area has put together a 3-member committee, and I would want us to wait and get all the data and information so we can draw some conclusions. I think at this point, we are overgeneralizing and we are refusing to have the discussion in the context of these schools.
Okay, but when you look at generally the issue of politicizing education, and you refer to a school that was jubilating, that is Prempeh. If the video I saw on the screening from is right, that was Prempeh. Even in that jubilation, there was a song that sought to praise the president for whatever reason they think that he contributed to the success of the paper. Don't you find it problematic that politics seem to be eating so much into the fiber of our education system, so that even if it is for or against government, it's a matter that must be addressed?
I think you are right. I will agree with you. I think issues of policies have become too much in the educational system. But that is the work of the politicians. And I believe that media men, journalists, educationists, and other citizens should be able to have some of these discussions on a non-partisan basis, so that we look at the real issues and discuss the real issues and forget about the commentary of the politicians. I think it's not helping us as a nation. It's not helping our students. And I mean, let's talk about issues of past questions.
Yeah.
When we were students, we used past questions. The only difference is that this time, right, has been compiled in a booklet form for the students to make it easy. Yeah. Nobody is telling the students, and if somebody has told them that, it's unfortunate, but nobody should be telling the students that questions are come from these past questions. Past questions only serve as a guide. In their case, they were even giving some comments and remarks from chief examiners. That will further enhance your preparation towards these exams when you use this booklet. So I guess my point is, yes, the politicians are talking and they are trying to make political gains out of these issues. But as an educationist, I want to delink this issue from politics and look at the real issue and look at what is happening at Tinubu Senior High School and the other senior high schools and draw conclusions based on the information I have on Tinubu and not the entire senior high school system in Ghana.
Mr. Anti, when you see that some of these students say, we got the papers ahead of time, especially in Tinubu Akodia Senior High School. Some of them say, we saw the papers, and yes, when we went into the exam hall, these are not the same papers we were told that we should expect. It brings the issue of leakage of papers during such exam, which is an age-old thing. But over the years, I hardly have seen or read any report that suggests that somebody has been prosecuted or incarcerated because of his or her involvement in such an activity. Should we be going that way to set an example? Would that be the solution going forward?
Yeah, there is a problem. And for us to solve the problem, we need to tackle the problem up front. We do not need to be diplomatic about the challenge. The system that we are building, and it's been like that over the years till now, seems to place a lot of emphasis on the student's ability to pass the exams. Of course, for the student to progress in his or her education, he needs to sit the WASI and pass very well before he can get to the tertiary institutions. Students who are not able to pass WASI will have to maybe drop from the education ladder, or will have to sit the private exams for a long period of time, and when they pass, they can continue. There's nothing substantial for them to do if you are not able to pass your exams, which makes the WASI something very important to the students. Parents would want their students to continue. Teachers, in some instances, or in most instances, their performance is linked to the ability of their students to pass. Now, we've even gone to the extent that schools' ranking is based on the number of students that are able to pass the WASI. So the pressure on that particular exams is high, and people would move back and forth, go to places, do stuff to make sure that they get these questions for the students, either the parents, either the school, the teacher, or even sometimes the entire community would want the school in that particular community to exhibit 100% pass rate, so that they can boast with that particular result. And that is why we are having this kind of challenge. And if we really want to stop it, we have to rethink our understanding of assessment. We have to look at the entire WASSCE structure. We have to also find ways and means by which students can still continue their life, even if they do not pass their WASSCE. If you're able to solve these particular challenges, then the pressure on WASSCE ability to pass would reduce, and the desire to get the questions can be dealt with. As a society, we have to come out, be frank with this, and then handle it
and deal with it. Absolutely. And we're just wrapping up on this, Mr. Anti. I want to give Dr. Boakye Yiadom just 1 minute to wrap up on this. Doc, the papers have just started. They have a lot more to write. Going forward, what should be done to prepare the minds of the student for what is left, so that we can have a peaceful process going forward?
I expect school leadership to be up and doing and make sure that supervision is at its highest level. When there are violations, when there are suspicions of examination board practices, there are laid down procedures to follow. You don't go about slapping people. I know there is at least one policeman at every examination center. What you do is to report to the police for the law to take its course. You don't smash people's cell phones, and you don't slap people, and you don't refuse to give permission to students who want to go out and use the restroom. I think these are laid down procedures that must be adhered to. And I'm hoping that school leadership, the supervisors, the Ghana Education Service will ensure that schools and tutors and school heads adhere to these principles and these procedures. And I believe that we will have a very smooth conduct of the examinations.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And that's Dr. Michael Boakye Yiadom, a fellow with the Institute for Educational Planning and Administration. And we also had Mr. Anti, Peter Anti, who is the Executive Director of the Institute for Education Africa, joining us for this conversation on the protests we are seeing in some schools on the ongoing WASSCE. Away from education, the Defence and Interior Committee of Parliament has invited the Ministers for Defence and Interior and the Chief of Defence Staff to answer questions related to the reported cases of alleged voter suppression during the ongoing registration exercise. The National Democratic Congress is accusing government of deliberately trying to disenfranchise residents of their strongholds in the Volta region and other parts of the country. Now, though the NPP has denied the allegations, Chairman of the Defence and Interior Committee and MP for Impresso Seth Champon says his ministers, the ministers' reports to the committee on Friday will look into the issue.
When the established state services and organizations have come out to deny and issued statements that are underpinned by facts, my friends still disbelieve the state-established institutions. They are the same institutions that we all come into office and use. And when it suits us, we adopt what they say. And when it doesn't fit for us, we throw it away. That's what I'm saying. I was sad, and Elvis, forgive me. I heard Elvis say that I congratulate those who stood up to the state security men. It was good. You see, Elvis is a former minister of state like me, a former member of parliament. You're putting it to me today. What are we doing? I've written to the CDS and the Minister of Defense. I've written to the Interior Minister. And because we wanted these things, unfortunately for me, because the ministers are doing this registration exercise, and they are candidates, they've written back to us that we should allow space for Thursday to pass, but at least we have a general election to run, and the House is still sitting till next week. So I'm sure by Friday I'm going to meet all of them, because I've given that my committee. It's not me alone. It's not the committee. Is not set a champion. It's a group. But we want to find a way because we met them before the exercise commenced, and we're going to, whilst during the exercise, we want to find out the facts that are coming, the allegations that are emerging. We need to know much about it.
The Director of Elections for the NDC, Elvis Ifriankra, says the NPP's allegations of communist inferior tactics are laughable in the face of the incontrovertible evidence.
Nanado, before he became a member of parliament, Chebi, that election was one of the bloodiest in the history of this country. Mufa almost lost his life. You don't believe me? Okay.
Which year was this?
This is 1996. Yes. Now let's come to his own party internal issues. You saw what happened? The military people, the thugs going to the party to go and forcibly remove people, Japan, acid pouring, even the primaries. Okay, now let's come to before he even became president, they brought people from South Africa to come and train them. You see, when you sow a seed, that seed will germinate, grow, and produce fruits. Those guys that were trained, they are the ones that have matured and grown and are engaging in all these things. Then you come to when they took office. First week, Superintendent Nanka Bruce was beaten to pulp at the Flagstaff house. Video evidence. What happened? They didn't follow the matter. They were rather interested in the person who did the video and leaked it. Nothing happened. Subsequently, their own Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator beaten, dragged down the steps, humiliated. Nothing happened to those boys. Third, they went to Gapoha to go and meet. There was a program there. Their boys came there and disrupted the meeting. Nothing happened. The guys who beat up the Ashanti Regional Security Officer were sent to court. What happened? They went to the court, scattered the place, and dealt with the woman. A judge. It's never happened before. What happened? Nothing. So all these things have been going on. Nothing, absolutely nothing has happened to them. Then they brought the vigilantism bill. I had my doubts. People said, well, you go ahead and, let's sign it and let's go ahead with the peace council here, meetings here. What has happened? There's a vigilantism bill as we speak today. And yet, they are the ones who are training these guys. Where will we, opposition, go and get AK-47s from? AK-47 and pistols all over. These guys in khaki and black, wearing hood and mask in public places. Where will we go and get these people from? So that's why I keep saying it's a state-sponsored activity, and until we deal with that and stop beating about the bush speaking mellifluous English, we are not going to be able to solve this problem. The state, led by Nana Akufo-Addo, Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, has a responsibility. If he says those guys should withdraw and stop what they are doing and disband them, they will be disbanded tomorrow.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Woodcrafters and cane weavers in the Western region say they have lost about 95% of their clients. They tell Joy Business they have had to hold on to production since March this year, following closure of the country's borders, as the majority of their clients are foreigners. More in this report sent to us by Inathalia Kwanzaa.
In the scorching sun, these few weavers are busily weaving tables and other crafts, hoping that business will start booming very soon. Though they tell me they are not sure of the money they can make today, they want to remain relevant and serve their few local clients. Western Regional Chairman of the Wood and Cane Weavers Association, Tony Teta Blankson, has been speaking to Joy Business on the sharp decline in the patronage of their products since the emergence of COVID-19 in the country.
Most of our clients are, from the diaspora, because of the COVID, they are not coming in. So everything has become stagnant now. It has really affected our business. But yes, so, one or two locally used to come around. So we are still on it, looking forward that things will be fine. Oh, actually, it has gone on very well, as we were expecting. The things have been presented, and the whole association are very happy. They have appreciated what we have, because we were looking forward to see something like this, and luckily for us, we've had it. So we are very excited for the presentation.
In an attempt to keep these weavers in business and relevant on the international market in the midst of COVID-19, the Ghana Exports Promotion Authority has hinted of plans to train the craftsmen to acquaint themselves with social media and online marketing tools. Deputy Chief Executive Officer in charge of operations and finance of the Ghana Export and Promotion Authority, Samuel Dentu, speaking at the sideline of a donation of personal protective equipment, said showing online presence is key for survival.
We are not in normal times, and if we are not in normal times, we find other ways of continuing with our business. I think they do these things for people to buy, and people, especially the whites and the tourists that come around, we have advised them to learn how to use social media, the tools on social media, to be able to advertise their product so that people can see and order, and then for them to also ship to them. So this is the advice that we give, and we as Ghana Export Promotion, we are even ready to give them the kind of training that they would need to be able to use the tools that are available. Many SMEs, many small enterprises are using the social media too, and I think it's working. As the numbers are increasing, we expect that people would be able to do their work.
Now, financial sector players and telecom operators may be slapped with penalties and administrative sanctions for any breaches when the new cybersecurity bill is approved. According to the National Cybersecurity Advisor, Albert Ntriboisiako, this will help government raise funds to invest heavily in robust cybersecurity infrastructure.
We are operating a kind of a decentralized cybersecurity development, and we work with the regulator to ensure the relevant directives and best practices presented to the financial institutions, for example. And I think compliance has been good because it's a regulator. But we're going to strengthen the regime, and the ministry led by Honorable Eslaus, who has indicated that with the introduction of the new cybersecurity bill, there will be administrative penalties, sanctions to individuals, whether financial sector, telecommunications sector, if they fail to comply with the regulations and the directives that are outlined in the law. So I think this is another way of further enhancing our national response to make sure that businesses set up. A bit of the profit margin should go into investing in robust cybersecurity infrastructure. And I think there is a benefit by which they need to protect digital channels that they are putting in place.
That's all in business for now. Sports is up next.